Hello, my name is Rick. I would like to show you one of my woodworking projects that I make. This is a hot plate trivet. It has loose parts here, and it's also a puzzle. So this trivet sits on our kitchen table, on the counter by the stove, and my wife puts the hot plates on it. We use it every day. 30 years we've been doing this. And the grandkids will come over on Thanksgiving and play with the puzzles and see who can come up with the most solutions. There's over 20 solutions to put this puzzle together. You can make this out of whatever selection of woods you like. Here, this one has oak, mahogany, and pine in it. This one here is just all pine. And you could, this one here is all pine also, but stained in different colors. And if you're finishing it naturally, you put a good varnish coat on it. So today we're going to look at how to cut these out. You could cut them on the power miter box. I prefer the table saw to cut them. And we'll show you that. We'll show you the dimensions you'll need to know. And knowing the dimensions, you can scale this into either a larger or smaller project. Here is a cup glass holder, a coaster. That's the same part with all the loose parts there that come out. Okay. So that's what we're going to show you if you continue to watch. So here's a better view of the puzzles, a closer up detail of them. Again, staining, different colors or natural, whatever you like, and the smaller solutions if you just scale the dimensions. And again, there's over 20 different solutions to this puzzle. So here's the dimensions. The overall puzzle is square, 8 by 8. The square pieces, there are 4 of them, are 2 inches square. The triangle pieces, which are 4, are cut at a 45-degree angle, and the length of the triangle is 4 inches and the height is 2 inches. The triangular parallelograms here that we have, there's 8 pieces, and they're 1 and 13/32 wide. That's about 1 and 41/100. And tip to tip there, the long tip to tip, is 2 and 13/16, or 2 and 82/100. Making the frame on the outside of the puzzle has to be a little bit bigger. If these pieces were all exactly the right size and the frame was 8 by 8, you wouldn't be able to get them in and out. You need some space around there. So I make my frame size 8 and 5/16. It gives a little bit of a slop there to get the parts out. So we're going to start by ripping some stock. First, I've removed the safety guard here for the table saw, just for clarity. I was a tech ed teacher for 40 years and taught my kids about safety, and you should understand the safety of your equipment when you're using it, just like Norm Aber and I sit on this old house. And always wear your hearing protection and eye protection. And push sticks are very important. But I like the 1/2 inch stock because with a 3/4 inch frame with 1/2 inch ply backing, which is really like 3/16 of an inch ply backing, that 1/2 inch stock fits nice and flush there. I've made these with 3/4 inch thick stock also. Either one works. Just adjust your frame for the thickness so it comes out flush at the end. So we're going to start by ripping some stock. Now we have it saw set up to rip 2 inches to cut the diagonals and the triangles and the squares. to rip the diagonals, and I should be able to get 4 on each side here, so I got to board the rough cut at 15 inches. So now we have we're going to use the miter gauge to cut the squares, a 90-degree cut. So we have a spacer here, so we can safely cut those off and they can fall all the way and not get bound in by the fence. All right. First we'll make sure the end is square, and then we'll cut, we need 4 of these. So you could just measure your parts out on a board and make some pencil marks and cut them. But I've made a fixture here that is for the triangles and the parallelograms, and have a saw kerf in there to line them up every time, so I can cut multiples all the time. Using my miter gauge set at 45 degrees, we'll set this up. One of the parts, we're going to cut the triangles. So again, we got to make a 45-degree cut first. Now that we have the 4 triangles cut, we're going to flip the fixture around and cut the parallelograms. And then again, I have a saw kerf there, lining it up with my stop. And again, we got to make a first 45-degree cut there. So we got our 4 triangles, our 4 squares, our 8 parallelograms. The next step is sanding. And when we sand, we want to knock the corners off a little bit. We want to just touch that up and round the corners off on all the parts, just a hair. First they're sharp, and it makes it fit better in the puzzle if their corners are just a little bit rounded off. So we will sand these parts next. So here's the parts that just got sanded, and you can see that we just knocked the corners a little bit. All the edges, corners, we knocked off just a little bit. All right, and they've got a frame here that they fit into. Our frame, we want to be, the inside measurement of our frame is, we're going to cut a frame next. We have to allow for the plywood back, and we're going to use 3/4 inch thick stock, and we'll show you how we cut that frame. I just ripped some oak here. By the way, the wood we were using here was ash, for the parts in oak. And this is a nice thing about the puzzle trivet. Mix up the wood grains, it looks more interesting. So I cut a board here, it's 3/4 thick and made it 1 inch wide. You can make whatever width you want, really, up to you. And now here's my 1/4 inch ply back. So I'm going to cut a groove there for ripping so that can set into that groove a little bit. And here's my 1/2 inch part, and that fits flush there. That's what we want, it to fit flush. So we're going to cut a groove here, or a rabbet down here. Now we got a groove cut for where we want the plywood to sit behind it. And now we're going to make another perpendicular cut for the groove. So I made this table saw 45-degree fixture for making picture frames and things at 45 degrees. You can find on the internet numerous people showing you how to make one of these. And I have it so I can put the slot, the groove, the rabbet up against the ruler or without the ruler. Today I'm not using the slot, the groove, for measurement. I want to use the inside edge of the frame as the measurement. So I got my fixture all set up for 8 5/16. Fixture here, you could also do this on a par miter box or with a miter box with a handsaw. So next here we're going to glue our frame together. going to check to make sure we are both ways. With the right measurement here. All right. And we got a nail gun, or you can do it without a nail gun. Okay, the next thing to do is cut a piece of plywood for the dimensions of the back here. Good fit. So we're going to do a test fit here. Got the plywood just loose fitting in there. Well, that looks good. That looks good. No space around there, so they come out easily. That's good. Now just to glue the back on. So some grates. And I think this is going to look nice with a natural finish. No stain, just varnish. I think this will look. So here we have our finished trivet. A nice project, challenging with over 20 different solutions to put it together. And I'd like to also mention that for those of you who have children out there watching, high school children, it would be my suggestion that you consider a tech ed course for your children. Many high schools have tech ed courses in classes of engineering, graphics design, architecture, and woodworking, and robotics. Now lots of classes, schools have robotics courses, and even some schools still have auto shop. But a woodworking class would be a great class for kids to have some confidence that they can work on a project at home and do some home repairs. Thanks for watching.